The morning sun cast long shadows across the military training facility as Captain Sarah Mitchell adjusted her gear one final time. Her hands moved with practiced precision, checking each piece of equipment that would either make or break her during the most challenging day of her military career. The obstacle course stretched before her like a serpent made of concrete, steel, and mud, designed to push even the strongest soldiers to their breaking point. Sarah had been preparing for this moment for 18 months. The Elite Forces Selection Program only accepted 12 candidates each year from the entire Army, and she was the first woman to even qualify for the preliminary trials. The weight of that distinction sat heavy on her shoulders, but not as heavy as the doubt she saw in every pair of eyes that watched her approach the starting line. Colonel James Harrison stood at the observation deck, his weathered face showing no emotion as he reviewed her file for the 100th time. 27 years of military service had taught him to spot potential in soldiers, but Sarah Mitchell challenged everything he thought he knew about combat readiness. Her test scores were exceptional. Her physical fitness ratings placed her in the top 5% of all soldiers, and her tactical knowledge surpassed many officers with twice her experience. It's something in his gut told him she would crumble under the pressure of real combat simulation. The selection program was not just about physical strength or mental toughness. It was about finding soldiers who could function when everything went wrong, who could make life-or-death decisions in seconds, and who could carry their teammates through hell and back without breaking. Harrison had seen promising candidates wash out in the first hour, their confidence shattered by obstacles they never imagined they would face. Sarah's journey to this moment had begun 3 years earlier when she witnessed a terrorist attack during a routine patrol in Afghanistan. She watched helplessly as her unit was pinned down by enemy fire, unable to reach wounded civilians caught in the crossfire. That day, she made a promise to herself that she would never again be limited by her current capabilities. She would push herself to become the kind of soldier who could change the outcome of impossible situations. Her training regimen became legendary among her peers. While others slept, Sarah ran 15-mile circuits through mountain terrain. While others relaxed during leave, she studied advanced tactical manuals and practiced combat scenarios until her movements became instinctive. She sought out the hardest assignments, volunteered for the most dangerous missions, and never once asked for special consideration because of her gender. The other candidates had arrived at the facility with varying degrees of confidence, but they all shared one common trait. They believed they deserved to be there. Sarah felt different. Every step she took toward the selection program felt like she was walking uphill against a hurricane of skepticism. Fellow soldiers questioned whether she was taking a spot that should go to a man. Superior officers wondered aloud whether the program was being watered down to accommodate female candidates. Even some of her supporters worried that she was setting herself up for public failure that would set back women in combat roles for years. Dr. Emily Rodriguez, the program's psychological evaluator, had spent considerable time with each candidate during the pre-selection interviews. Sarah's psychological profile revealed a fascinating contradiction: incredible self-doubt paired with unshakable determination. During their sessions, Sarah openly discussed her fears about not being strong enough, fast enough, or tough enough to meet the program standards. Yet when presented with actual challenges, she attacked them with a ferocity that surprised even herself. The night before the final selection began, Sarah sat alone in her quarters writing a letter she hoped she would never need to send. It was addressed to her younger sister, explaining why she had chosen this path and what it meant to her to prove that gender should never limit someone's ability to serve their country. She wrote about the responsibility she felt to succeed, not just for herself, but for every woman who dreamed of serving in roles previously closed to them. Her letter revealed the depth of pressure she felt from all sides. Military traditionalists wanted her to fail to prove their point that women had no place in elite combat units. Progressive advocates wanted her to succeed so dramatically that it would silence all critics forever. Sarah just wanted the chance to prove she could do the job as well as any soldier, regardless of what equipment she carried between her legs. The selection program's reputation for breaking soldiers was well-earned. Previous years had seen candidates suffer everything from broken bones to complete psychological breakdowns. The course was designed to simulate the worst possible combat conditions, where soldiers would need to operate for days without sleep, food, or adequate water, while completing increasingly complex missions under constant threat. Colonel Harrison had helped design many of the program's most challenging elements. He believed that war was the ultimate test of human character, and soldiers needed to discover their breaking points in training rather than during actual combat. His philosophy was simple. If you could not handle the simulated pressure of the selection program, you had no business risking other soldiers' lives in real combat situations. The course began before dawn with a 12-mile ruck march carrying 80 pounds of gear through mountainous terrain. Candidates who fell behind the pace would be eliminated immediately. Sarah had practiced this specific challenge hundreds of times, but never under the psychological pressure of knowing that failure meant the end of everything she had worked toward. As she shouldered her pack and joined the formation, Sarah noticed the subtle ways other candidates tried to gain psychological advantages. Some attempted to intimidate her with aggressive posturing and crude comments about her physical capabilities. Others tried to undermine her confidence by discussing how previous female candidates had failed spectacularly at various stages of the program. Sarah's response was to focus entirely on her own performance. She had learned early in her military career that trying to prove herself to doubters was a losing game. There would always be someone who moved the goalposts or found new reasons why her success didn't count. Her goal was not to convince anyone else that she belonged. It was to convince herself that she could meet any challenge the program presented. The ruck march began in complete darkness, with candidates navigating by compass and terrain recognition. The pace was brutal from the first step, designed to separate those who had trained seriously from those who had relied on natural ability. Sarah found her rhythm quickly, her breathing steady, and her stride efficient. She had learned to treat physical pain as information rather than a barrier, noting what her body was telling her without letting it dictate her actions. By the time the sun rose, 3 candidates had already dropped out, unable to maintain the required pace. The remaining 17 soldiers spread out along the mountain trail, each fighting their own battle against fatigue, doubt, and the voice in their heads telling them to quit. Sarah held position in the middle of the pack, conserving energy while staying well within the required time limits. Colonel Harrison followed the candidates' progress from a command vehicle, monitoring their vital signs and performance metrics through sophisticated tracking equipment. Each soldier wore sensors that provided real-time data about their heart rate, hydration levels, and physical stress indicators. Sarah's readings impressed him despite his reluctance to admit it. Her heart rate remained steady even during the most challenging climbs, and her pace never wavered regardless of terrain difficulty. The first major test came at mile 8, where candidates encountered a river crossing that required them to transport their full gear across 40 feet of fast-moving water using only rope and their own problem-solving skills. This obstacle had eliminated more candidates than any other single challenge in the program's history. The current was strong enough to sweep away anyone who lost their grip, and the water was cold enough to cause hypothermia within minutes. Sarah studied the crossing for several minutes, watching how other candidates approached the problem. Most tried to power through using brute strength, fighting against the current rather than working with it. She noticed that the most successful crossings happened when soldiers used the rope's angle to their advantage, allowing the current to help carry them across rather than fighting against it. When her turn came, Sarah moved with deliberate confidence. She secured her gear using a technique she had practiced during her preparation, distributing the weight to maintain balance without restricting her movement. Her crossing was not the fastest, but it was smooth and controlled, demonstrating the kind of tactical thinking that separated good soldiers from great ones. Dr. Rodriguez observed the crossing from the bank, noting how different candidates handled the stress of potential failure. Some became reckless, taking dangerous chances that could have resulted in serious injury. Others became paralyzed by fear, hesitating so long that they exhausted themselves before even attempting the crossing. Sarah showed neither reaction. She assessed the situation, formed a plan, and executed it with calm precision. The Ruck March concluded at a forward operating base where candidates faced their next challenge, a combat simulation that would test their ability to function under fire while making tactical decisions that could affect civilian casualties. This phase separated soldiers who could follow orders from those who could think independently when situations went beyond standard procedures. Sarah's team was assigned to rescue hostages from a building controlled by hostile forces. The scenario was designed with no clear right answer, forcing candidates to make difficult decisions with incomplete information while under simulated enemy fire. Points would be deducted for civilian casualties, but also for failing to complete the primary mission within the allocated time. As team leader for this exercise, Sarah faced additional pressure. Her tactical decisions would not only affect her own evaluation, but also the performance of 3 other candidates. She studied the intelligence briefing carefully, noting discrepancies between different sources of information that suggested the scenario was more complex than it initially appeared. The building assault began with Sarah's team moving through smoke-filled corridors while speakers blasted the sounds of gunfire and explosions. Actors playing hostages and terrorists were positioned throughout the structure, requiring split-second decisions about who to engage and who to protect. Sarah's military training took over as she led her team through the building with methodical precision. Her breakthrough moment came when she realized that the scenario's apparent time pressure was actually a psychological trap. Most teams rushed through the building trying to beat the clock, making mistakes that resulted in civilian casualties or missed objectives. Sarah slowed her team's advance, taking time to properly clear each room and verify targets before engaging. This decision cost valuable time, but prevented the kind of errors that had eliminated previous teams. When they encountered a room full of civilians mixed with armed hostile actors, Sarah's careful approach allowed her team to neutralize the threats without harming innocent people. Her tactical patience demonstrated the kind of judgment that could not be taught in classroom settings. Colonel Harrison watched the exercise unfold through multiple camera angles, grudgingly impressed by Sarah's leadership style. She communicated clearly with her team, adapted quickly to changing situations, and never lost sight of the mission objectives despite increasing pressure. Her performance challenged his assumptions about how female soldiers might handle combat leadership roles. The hostage rescue concluded successfully, with Sarah's team achieving all primary objectives while suffering no simulated casualties. Their time was slower than several other teams, but their execution was flawless. During the debrief, Sarah explained her tactical decisions with clarity and confidence, showing that her choices had been deliberate rather than hesitant. As the first day of selection concluded, Sarah felt cautiously optimistic about her performance. She had completed every challenge without requesting assistance or special consideration, proving that she belonged among the candidates still in the program. However, she also knew that the most difficult tests lay ahead, designed to push candidates beyond their physical and mental limits. That evening, candidates were given 1 hour to clean their gear, eat a meal, and prepare for the next day's challenges. Sarah used the time to review her performance, identifying areas where she could improve while maintaining confidence in her abilities. She knew that self-doubt could be as dangerous as overconfidence in the challenges ahead. The other candidates had begun to take notice of her performance. Initial skepticism was giving way to grudging respect as Sarah consistently met or exceeded every standard. She never boasted about her accomplishments or drew attention to her successes, instead focusing entirely on the next challenge. This professional approach earned her credibility among peers who had initially doubted her presence in the program. Dr. Rodriguez's evening evaluations noted significant psychological development among all candidates, but Sarah's mental resilience stood out. While others showed increasing signs of stress and fatigue, Sarah appeared to be gaining strength from each successful challenge. Her confidence was building on a foundation of proven performance rather than empty bravado. Colonel Harrison spent the evening reviewing performance data and video footage from the day's events. His initial concerns about Sarah's physical capabilities had been proven unfounded. She was keeping pace with candidates who significantly outweighed her. More importantly, her tactical thinking and leadership skills were among the best he had observed in years of running the selection program. The colonel found himself facing an unexpected internal conflict. His military experience told him that Sarah was demonstrating exactly the qualities the program was designed to identify. Yet decades of tradition and ingrained assumptions about combat effectiveness made it difficult for him to fully accept what he was witnessing. He had built his career on the belief that certain roles were best suited to certain types of people, and Sarah's success was challenging those fundamental assumptions. As night fell over the training facility, Sarah prepared for sleep, knowing that tomorrow would bring even greater challenges. The selection program was designed to become progressively more difficult, testing not just what candidates could do fresh, but how they performed when exhausted, stressed, and pushed beyond their normal limits. She lay in her narrow bunk thinking about the promise she had made to herself 3 years earlier. Every challenge she had faced today brought her closer to becoming the kind of soldier who could make a difference in impossible situations. The little girl who had dreamed of serving her country was growing into a warrior who could change the definition of what that service could look like. The facility grew quiet as candidates tried to rest before the trials ahead. In his office, Colonel Harrison continued reviewing the day's performance data, searching for signs that would justify his skepticism about female candidates. Instead, he found himself looking at metrics that challenged everything he thought he knew about what made an effective soldier. Tomorrow would bring new tests designed to break anyone who did not possess the rare combination of physical capability, mental toughness, and tactical intelligence that defined elite soldiers. Sarah had proven she could meet the program's standards when everything went according to plan. Now she would discover whether she could exceed those standards when nothing went as expected. The stakes could not be higher. Success would open doors not just for Sarah, but for every woman who dreamed of serving in roles previously closed to them. Failure would provide ammunition for those who argued that certain military positions should remain gender exclusive. Sarah carried the weight of both possibilities as she closed her eyes and tried to rest before the most challenging day of her life. The second day began at 3 in the morning with alarms that jolted candidates from whatever sleep they had managed to find. Sarah's eyes opened immediately, her mind already focusing on the challenges ahead. Around her, other candidates struggled to shake off fatigue and prepare for whatever the instructors had planned. The difference in their energy levels was becoming obvious. Some moved with the mechanical precision of well-trained soldiers, while others showed signs of the previous day's toll. Master Sergeant Thompson entered the barracks with his usual intimidating presence. His voice carried the authority of someone who had survived 3 combat deployments and countless training exercises that had broken lesser soldiers. He announced that candidates would have 15 minutes to prepare for a surprise exercise that would test their ability to function under extreme stress with minimal preparation time. Sarah's advantage became clear during these moments of unexpected pressure. While others scrambled to organize their gear, she moved with calm efficiency. Her preparation had included practicing rapid equipment checks and deployment scenarios until they became automatic responses. This attention to detail, which some had dismissed as excessive, now paid dividends when every second counted. The surprise exercise turned out to be a nighttime navigation course through terrain filled with hidden obstacles and simulated enemy positions. Candidates would work alone, relying entirely on their compass skills and terrain recognition to reach checkpoint locations marked only by coordinates. Electronic devices were prohibited, forcing soldiers to depend on fundamental skills that modern technology had made less essential. Dr. Rodriguez observed from the command center as candidates spread out across the dark landscape. The exercise was designed to reveal how soldiers handled isolation, uncertainty, and the constant possibility of making errors that could prove fatal in real combat situations. Some candidates moved quickly but carelessly, while others became paralyzed by fear of making mistakes. Sarah's approach demonstrated the tactical patience she had shown during the previous day's challenges. She took time to establish her exact position before beginning movement, using terrain features and compass bearings to create a mental map of her route. Her progress was steady rather than rushed, each step taken with consideration for both speed and accuracy. The first checkpoint required candidates to locate a hidden supply cache in complete darkness using only coordinate information and basic navigation tools. Many soldiers struggled with this challenge, their confidence shaken by the difficulty of finding precise locations without technological assistance. Sarah's military training had emphasized these fundamental skills, and she located the checkpoint within minutes of reaching the target area. Colonel Harrison monitored candidate progress through night vision equipment, noting how different personalities responded to the stress of working alone in potentially dangerous terrain. Sarah's movement patterns showed none of the hesitation or confusion that marked struggling candidates. Her route choices demonstrated understanding of tactical movement principles, avoiding obvious paths that might conceal ambush positions while maintaining efficient progress toward objectives. The navigation exercise revealed character traits that could not be measured through physical fitness tests or written examinations. Some candidates took shortcuts that violated safety protocols, prioritizing speed over thoroughness. Others became so cautious that they made little progress toward their objectives. Sarah struck a balance that showed both tactical awareness and mission focus. Her second checkpoint presented a puzzle that required interpreting coded messages to determine the location of a simulated wounded soldier requiring evacuation. This challenge tested not just navigation skills, but also the ability to think clearly under pressure while managing multiple information sources. Sarah approached the problem systematically, breaking down the coded information into manageable pieces rather than trying to solve everything simultaneously. The psychological pressure of working alone in darkness began affecting some candidates' decision-making abilities. Radio chatter revealed soldiers becoming increasingly frustrated with their inability to locate objectives or interpret instructions correctly. Sarah's communications remained professional and focused, reporting her progress without revealing anxiety or requesting assistance that might indicate weakness. Master Sergeant Thompson noted her radio discipline in his evaluation notes. Clear communication under stress was a critical skill for elite soldiers who might need to coordinate complex operations while under enemy fire. Sarah's ability to convey essential information concisely while maintaining tactical awareness suggested training and preparation that went beyond minimum requirements. The third checkpoint tested physical skills under extreme fatigue conditions. Candidates who reached this point have been moving through difficult terrain for over 4 hours with minimal rest. The challenge required climbing a 30-foot rope while carrying full gear, then completing a series of precision shooting exercises that would reveal how exhaustion affected fine motor control. Sarah reached the climbing obstacle as the first hints of dawn appeared on the horizon. Her body showed the effects of continuous exertion, but her mental focus remained sharp. She approached the rope climb with the same methodical preparation she had shown throughout the exercise, checking her gear and planning her ascent before beginning the physical challenge. The climb tested both upper body strength and technique. Candidates who relied solely on arm strength often failed halfway up, their muscles overwhelmed by fatigue and the weight of their equipment. Sarah used proper climbing techniques that distributed effort across multiple muscle groups, allowing her to complete the ascent while conserving energy for the challenges that followed. The precision shooting exercise was designed to be particularly challenging for exhausted candidates. Targets were positioned at varying distances and required different shooting positions to engage effectively. Shaking hands and blurred vision from fatigue made accuracy extremely difficult, and many soldiers who had performed well earlier in the program struggled to meet minimum shooting standards. Sarah's marksmanship training paid dividends during this critical test. She had practiced shooting under various stress conditions, including after physical exertion that simulated combat fatigue. Her breathing techniques and trigger control remained consistent despite her body's exhaustion, and she achieved scores that placed her among the top performers for the exercise. Dr. Rodriguez's monitoring equipment showed interesting physiological data during the shooting exercise. While most candidates displayed elevated heart rates and stress indicators that interfered with fine motor control, Sarah's reading suggested she had learned to compartmentalize physical discomfort and maintain focus on technical tasks. This ability to perform precise movements while under physical stress was exactly what the program sought to identify. The navigation exercise concluded as full daylight revealed the extent of the course candidates had been navigating. Many soldiers were surprised to discover they had been moving through terrain that would have been extremely dangerous in actual combat conditions. Rocky cliffs, dense vegetation, and hidden obstacles had created numerous opportunities for serious injury during the nighttime movement. Sarah completed all navigation checkpoints within the required time limits while demonstrating tactical awareness that impressed even skeptical instructors. Her route choices showed understanding of terrain advantages and potential threats that suggested study and preparation beyond normal training requirements. She had approached the exercise not just as a test to pass, but as a learning opportunity to develop skills that would serve her throughout her military career. The morning briefing revealed that only 12 candidates remained in the program, with 5 soldiers eliminated during the navigation exercise. These eliminations were not due to physical failures, but rather mental mistakes that could prove fatal in combat situations. Candidates who became lost, panicked under pressure, or made unsafe decisions have been removed from consideration. Colonel Harrison addressed the remaining candidates with grudging respect for their performance. He explained that the day's main exercise would test their ability to function as a team under conditions designed to replicate the stress and confusion of actual combat. This phase would determine who possessed not just individual skills, but the ability to work effectively with others when lives depended on coordination and mutual support. The team exercise divided candidates into 3 groups of 4 soldiers each, with Sarah assigned to lead a squad that included 2 men who had initially questioned her presence in the program. This assignment was not accidental. The instructors wanted to see how she would handle leading soldiers who might be reluctant to follow orders from a female officer in high-stress situations. Her team's mission involved infiltrating a mock enemy compound, gathering intelligence on simulated weapon positions, and calling in coordinated strikes on specific targets while avoiding civilian casualties. The exercise required complex timing, precise communication, and the ability to adapt quickly when situations changed unexpectedly. Sarah's leadership style became evident immediately as she briefed her team on the mission parameters. She focused on objective analysis rather than personal dynamics, clearly explaining each soldier's responsibilities and how their individual actions would contribute to overall mission success. Her approach was professional and thorough, leaving no room for gender-based doubt about her tactical capabilities. The infiltration began at noon, with teams approaching the target compound from different directions to create multiple diversion opportunities. Sarah's team moved through dense woodland that provided concealment but required careful navigation to avoid detection by roving patrols. Her tactical decisions demonstrated understanding of small unit tactics that went beyond basic training requirements. Their first challenge came when they encountered an unexpected patrol that forced them to change their approach routes significantly. Sarah made quick decisions that kept her team concealed while maintaining progress toward their objectives. Her ability to adapt under pressure impressed team members who had initially doubted whether she could handle the stress of combat leadership. Master Sergeant Thompson observed the exercise through concealed cameras positioned throughout the training area. Sarah's team coordination showed none of the hesitation or confusion that often marks soldiers working together for the first time under stressful conditions. She communicated clearly, made decisions quickly, and maintained awareness of both her team's capabilities and the mission requirements. The intelligence gathering phase required team members to observe enemy positions for extended periods while remaining completely hidden. This challenge tested patience and discipline as much as tactical skills, since any movement or sound could compromise the entire mission. Sarah positioned her team to provide overlapping observation coverage while maintaining concealed withdrawal routes. Her tactical planning showed sophisticated understanding of reconnaissance principles. Rather than simply watching target locations, she organized her team to gather information about patrol patterns, defensive positions, and potential vulnerabilities that would be essential for planning effective strikes. This attention to detail demonstrated the kind of thoroughness that separated competent soldiers from exceptional ones. The exercise's complexity increased when Sarah's team discovered that their intelligence briefing had contained deliberately incorrect information about civilian populations in the target area. This revelation forced them to modify their strike recommendations to avoid casualties among non-combatants, requiring rapid tactical assessments under extreme time pressure. Sarah's response to this unexpected complication impressed even Colonel Harrison, who was monitoring the exercise from the command center. Instead of proceeding with original plans that might have caused simulated civilian deaths, she took time to reanalyze the situation and develop alternative approaches that would achieve mission objectives while protecting innocent people. Her decision-making process revealed moral courage that could not be taught through standard military training. When faced with conflicting priorities between mission completion and casualty avoidance, Sarah chose the more difficult path that required additional risk and effort from her team. This choice demonstrated the kind of ethical leadership that distinguished great soldiers from merely effective ones. The strike coordination phase tested communication skills under extreme pressure as teams called in simulated air support on multiple targets simultaneously. Radio discipline became critical as overlapping communications could cause confusion that might result in friendly fire incidents or missed objectives. Sarah's team demonstrated exceptional coordination throughout this challenging phase. Dr. Rodriguez noted significant psychological development among team members working under Sarah's leadership. Soldiers who had initially shown reluctance to follow her orders were now functioning as a cohesive unit, responding quickly to her commands and providing feedback that helped improve overall team performance. This transformation demonstrated leadership effectiveness that could not be measured through traditional evaluation methods. The exercise reached its climax when Sarah's team encountered a situation not covered in their briefing. A group of simulated enemy soldiers holding civilian hostages in a location that threatened mission completion. This scenario required split-second decisions about whether to engage immediately, call for backup, or attempt a rescue operation that could jeopardize other mission objectives. Sarah's choice revealed the tactical thinking that had impressed instructors throughout the selection program. Rather than making hasty decisions based on incomplete information, she directed her team to gather additional intelligence while coordinating with other units to develop a comprehensive response. Her approach showed the kind of strategic thinking that effective combat leaders needed to possess. The hostage rescue attempt that followed demonstrated everything Sarah had learned throughout her military career. She coordinated multiple moving elements while maintaining awareness of civilian safety, enemy capabilities, and mission requirements. Her team executed a complex operation that achieved all objectives without suffering casualties or causing harm to innocent people. Colonel Harrison watched the rescue unfold through multiple camera angles, recognizing tactical skills that surpassed many officers with years of combat experience. Sarah's ability to manage complex operations under extreme pressure challenged his assumptions about gender limitations in combat leadership roles. Her performance was not just adequate, it was exceptional by any standard. The team exercise concluded with debriefing sessions that revealed how different leadership styles affected unit performance under stress. Sarah's approach had produced outstanding results while maintaining high morale and effective communication among team members. Her success could not be attributed to luck or favorable circumstances. It reflected preparation, skill, and natural leadership ability. As evening approached, the remaining candidates faced their final major challenge of the second day. Individual evaluations with Dr. Rodriguez would test psychological resilience and mental toughness that could not be measured through physical exercises or tactical scenarios. This phase eliminated candidates who possessed technical skills but lacked the emotional stability required for elite military service. Sarah entered her evaluation session with confidence built on 2 days of successful performance. However, she also understood that psychological tests could reveal weaknesses that physical challenges might not expose. Dr. Rodriguez's questions probed deep into motivations, fears, and mental processes that determined how soldiers would respond when everything went wrong. The psychological evaluation revealed layers of complexity beneath Sarah's composed exterior. Her motivations for pursuing elite military service went beyond personal ambition or desire to break gender barriers. She possessed a genuine calling to serve that would sustain her through difficulties that broke soldiers with less meaningful purposes driving their efforts. Dr. Rodriguez noted exceptional emotional intelligence in Sarah's responses to hypothetical scenarios involving moral dilemmas and leadership challenges. Her answers revealed someone who had thought deeply about the responsibilities of military service and understood the weight of decisions that could affect other people's lives. This maturity distinguished her from candidates whose motivations were primarily self-serving. The second day concluded with candidates exhausted but still in competition for the remaining spots in the elite program. Sarah had not just survived the challenges. She had excelled in ways that forced even skeptical observers to recognize her exceptional capabilities. Tomorrow would bring the final test that would determine which soldiers possessed the rare combination of skills needed for the most demanding military assignments. As she prepared for sleep, Sarah reflected on how much she had discovered about her own capabilities during the past 2 days. Each challenge had revealed strengths she had not fully understood and confidence that grew from proven performance rather than hopeful assumptions. She was becoming the soldier she had dreamed of being when she made her promise 3 years earlier. The training facility grew quiet as candidates tried to rest before the final phase of selection. In his office, Colonel Harrison continued struggling with internal conflicts about what he was witnessing. Sarah's performance was forcing him to reconsider fundamental beliefs about military effectiveness and gender roles that had shaped his entire career. Tomorrow would bring the ultimate test designed to identify soldiers capable of performing miracles when ordinary efforts were not enough. Sarah had proven she belonged among the candidates still competing for these elite positions. Now she would discover whether she possessed the extraordinary qualities that could make her one of the military's most valuable assets. The final day arrived with storm clouds gathering over the training facility, as if nature itself understood the significance of what was about to unfold. Sarah woke before her alarm, her body automatically adjusting to the rhythm of intensive training that had consumed her life for the past year. Only 8 candidates remained from the original 24, and today would determine which 4 would earn positions in the most elite military unit in the country. Colonel Harrison stood in the command center reviewing meteorological reports that showed deteriorating weather conditions throughout the day. The storm would add an element of genuine danger to exercises already designed to push candidates beyond their limits. He could have postponed the final phase, but something about Sarah's performance over the previous 2 days made him want to see how she would respond when nature amplified every challenge. The morning briefing revealed that candidates would face a 72-hour continuous exercise, combining every skill they had demonstrated during selection. They would operate with minimal food, limited water, and no shelter while completing missions that required perfect coordination between technical abilities and tactical judgment. Medical personnel would monitor each candidate continuously, ready to intervene if anyone's health became seriously compromised. Sarah listened to the briefing with growing excitement rather than apprehension. This final challenge represented everything she had trained for, the opportunity to prove that her preparation, dedication, and natural abilities could overcome any obstacle the program presented. She felt ready to push her body and mind further than she had ever imagined possible. Dr. Rodriguez addressed the psychological aspects of the final exercise, explaining that candidates would face designed stress intended to reveal character traits that emerged only under extreme pressure. Sleep deprivation, physical exhaustion, and constant uncertainty would strip away pretenses and reveal the authentic person beneath carefully maintained professional facades. The exercise began with candidates par-dropping into wilderness terrain 20 miles from their first objective. Weather conditions made the jump significantly more dangerous than planned, with gusty winds and reduced visibility creating genuine risks for even experienced paratroopers. Sarah had completed dozens of jumps during her military career, but never under conditions that tested every aspect of her airborne training. Her landing demonstrated the precision and control that had characterized her performance throughout the selection program. While other candidates struggled with wind-blown departures from their intended drop zones, Sarah managed her chute with expert skill, touching down within 50 meters of her target location. This early success provided psychological momentum that would prove crucial during the challenges ahead. The first mission required candidates to locate and secure a simulated weapons cache hidden somewhere within a 5-square-mile area of dense forest. They would work alone initially, using only map and compass navigation while avoiding roving enemy patrols that would eliminate anyone they detected. Success required balancing speed with stealth, since the first candidate to locate the cache would gain significant advantages for subsequent phases. Sarah's approach to this challenge reflected everything she had learned about tactical patience during the previous days. Rather than rushing through the search area, she moved methodically, using terrain features and vegetation patterns to narrow down likely hiding locations. Her systematic approach took longer than more aggressive tactics, but it reduced the risk of walking into ambush positions or missing subtle clues about the cache location. The storm that had been threatening all morning finally arrived with dramatic intensity, turning the forest into a maze of limited visibility and treacherous footing. Rain reduced visibility to less than 50 feet, while lightning strikes created genuine safety hazards that forced candidates to seek temporary shelter during the worst weather periods. Master Sergeant Thompson monitored candidate positions through GPS tracking, noting how different personalities responded to the additional stress created by severe weather conditions. Some candidates became reckless, taking dangerous risks to maintain progress toward their objectives. Others became paralyzed by caution, making so little progress that they effectively eliminated themselves from consideration. Sarah adapted to the weather with characteristic calm analysis. She recognized that the storm created opportunities as well as obstacles. Enemy patrols would be limited by the same visibility restrictions that affected her movement, and the sound of rain and thunder would mask noise that might otherwise reveal her position. Her tactical thinking demonstrated the adaptability that separated competent soldiers from exceptional ones. Her methodical search strategy paid dividends when she discovered signs of recent human activity near a rock formation that provided natural shelter from the storm. Rather than immediately investigating the suspicious location, Sarah observed it for 30 minutes to ensure she was not walking into a trap. This patience revealed that the area was indeed monitored by an enemy patrol that would have captured less cautious candidates. The weapons cache was hidden in a cave system beneath the rock formation, accessible only through an entrance concealed by carefully arranged vegetation. Sarah's discovery of this location demonstrated the attention to detail that had characterized her approach throughout the selection program. She had noticed subtle signs that others might have missed, revealing observational skills essential for military intelligence operations. Securing the cache required more than simply finding it. Candidates needed to inventory the weapons, assess their condition, and prepare them for transport while maintaining security against potential enemy interference. This phase tested technical knowledge about various weapon systems while requiring tactical awareness that could prevent ambush or capture. Sarah's weapons expertise became evident as she quickly identified and assessed each item in the cache. Her technical knowledge surpassed minimum requirements, reflecting study and preparation that went beyond normal training expectations. She understood not just how to operate different weapon systems, but also their strategic applications and logistical requirements. The cache also contained encrypted communications equipment that candidates needed to activate and use for coordination with their headquarters. This challenge tested technical skills under stress, since improper procedures could compromise communication security or alert enemy forces to ongoing operations. Sarah's approach demonstrated familiarity with advanced communication protocols that suggested specialized training or exceptional preparation. Colonel Harrison watched her progress through the communications phase with growing amazement. Sarah's technical competence matched or exceeded candidates with years of specialized training in signals intelligence and communication security. Her ability to master complex procedures while maintaining tactical awareness demonstrated intellectual capabilities that complemented her physical and leadership skills. The second phase of the final exercise required candidates to rendezvous with each other and function as a coordinated unit for increasingly complex missions. This transition tested their ability to shift from individual performance to team cooperation while exhausted and stressed from the previous challenges. Many promising candidates had failed at this point in previous years, unable to adapt their mindset from solo operation to collaborative effort. Sarah reached the rendezvous point as the fourth of 6 candidates who successfully completed the cache mission. 2 soldiers had been eliminated after enemy patrols detected their movement, confirming that tactical errors carried real consequences during this final phase. The surviving candidates represented the best performers from the original selection group. Their first team mission involved establishing a forward observation post overlooking a valley where enemy forces were conducting training exercises. The mission required sustained observation over 12 hours while maintaining complete concealment from enemy patrols and aircraft. Any detection would result in immediate elimination for the entire team, emphasizing the importance of coordinated effort and mutual accountability. Sarah found herself assigned as the team's communications specialist, responsible for maintaining contact with headquarters while coordinating observation schedules among team members. This role required technical expertise and organizational skills while working under conditions that made concentration extremely difficult. Sleep deprivation and physical exhaustion were beginning to affect all candidates' cognitive performance. The observation post needed to be established on high ground that provided clear sight lines across the target valley while offering concealed positions for team members. Sarah's input during the site selection process demonstrated understanding of both tactical requirements and practical considerations about maintaining security during extended operations. Dr. Rodriguez monitored team dynamics through concealed surveillance equipment, noting how leadership roles emerged naturally based on competence rather than assigned positions. Sarah's technical skills and calm decision-making made her a natural focal point for team coordination, despite official rank structures that might have suggested different leadership arrangements. The 12-hour observation mission tested endurance and discipline as much as tactical skills. Team members needed to maintain alertness while remaining motionless for hours at a time, requiring mental toughness that could not be developed through physical training alone. The constant threat of detection added psychological pressure that wore down even mentally tough candidates. Sarah's performance during this extended challenge revealed character traits that had sustained her through every phase of the selection program. Her ability to remain focused while uncomfortable, maintain professional standards while exhausted, and support team members while managing her own responsibilities demonstrated the rare combination of personal discipline and team orientation that defined elite soldiers. The observation mission's critical moment came when enemy aircraft conducted low-altitude reconnaissance flights directly over the team's position. Any movement or reflection from equipment could reveal their location and eliminate the entire team from consideration. Sarah's preparation and attention to detail during the position setup proved crucial as her concealment techniques kept the team hidden during these dangerous moments. Enemy ground patrols presented additional challenges throughout the observation period, requiring team members to communicate through hand signals while maintaining absolute silence. Sarah's communication discipline and situational awareness helped coordinate team responses that avoided detection while continuing to gather required intelligence about enemy activities in the valley. The intelligence gathered during this mission revealed that enemy forces were significantly larger and better equipped than initial briefings had suggested. This discovery required rapid analysis and reporting to headquarters, testing the team's ability to process complex information while maintaining their concealed position. Sarah's analytical skills and communication expertise proved essential during this critical phase. Colonel Harrison reviewed intelligence reports transmitted by Sarah's team, impressed by the thoroughness and accuracy of their observations. The quality of information they provided exceeded expectations for candidates operating under extreme stress and physical exhaustion. Their performance demonstrated professional competence that would be valuable in actual intelligence operations. The observation mission concluded successfully with the team maintaining concealment while gathering comprehensive intelligence about enemy capabilities and intentions. Their success earned them advancement to the final challenge, a complex rescue operation that would test every skill they had demonstrated during the selection program. The rescue scenario involved extracting a high-value target from an enemy-controlled facility while avoiding civilian casualties and minimizing team exposure to hostile fire. This mission required perfect coordination between individual skills and team tactics, with no room for error that could compromise the operation or endanger team members. Sarah's role in mission planning revealed the strategic thinking that had impressed instructors throughout the selection program. She identified potential complications that others had missed and developed contingency plans that would allow the team to adapt when situations changed unexpectedly. Her thoroughness in preparation reflected understanding that successful missions required anticipating problems before they occurred. The rescue operation began with infiltration techniques that tested every candidate's ability to move undetected through hostile territory. Sarah's team approached the target facility using concealed routes that avoided enemy sensor positions while maintaining communication links essential for coordinated action. Their movement demonstrated tactical discipline that reflected extensive training and natural ability. The facility assault required precise timing as team members engaged multiple targets simultaneously while protecting the rescue objective from potential harm. Sarah's marksmanship skills and tactical awareness proved essential during the complex operation that unfolded exactly as planned despite numerous opportunities for critical errors. Master Sergeant Thompson observed the rescue operation through multiple camera angles, recognizing tactical execution that surpassed performance levels typically achieved by candidates during selection exercises. Sarah's team demonstrated coordination and professional competence that indicated exceptional individual abilities combined with effective leadership and mutual support. The extraction phase tested physical endurance and mental toughness as the team evacuated their rescue objective across difficult terrain while pursued by enemy forces. Sarah's conditioning and tactical knowledge helped guide the team through challenges that pushed everyone beyond their normal capabilities while maintaining security protocols essential for mission success. The final exercise concluded with Sarah's team successfully completing every assigned mission while maintaining professional standards that impressed even skeptical evaluators. Her individual performance had been exceptional throughout the 72-hour challenge, demonstrating capabilities that exceeded the requirements for elite military service. Colonel Harrison found himself facing a moment of personal reckoning as he reviewed performance evaluations that could no longer be questioned or dismissed. Sarah had not just met the program standards. She had excelled in ways that forced him to acknowledge that his assumptions about gender limitations in combat roles had been fundamentally wrong. Dr. Rodriguez's final psychological evaluation revealed that Sarah had actually grown stronger throughout the selection process rather than being worn down by its challenges. Her confidence was now based on proven performance rather than hopeful expectations, creating a foundation for continued excellence that would serve her throughout her military career. The selection results were announced in a formal ceremony that acknowledged the achievements of candidates who had pushed themselves beyond previously imagined limits. Sarah was not just selected for the elite program. She was ranked as the top performer among all candidates, earning recognition that silenced any remaining questions about her qualifications. Colonel Harrison's congratulations carried genuine respect earned through 3 days of performance that had challenged everything he thought he understood about military effectiveness. His recognition of Sarah's achievements represented more than individual success. It marked a fundamental shift in understanding about what characteristics defined exceptional soldiers. The transformation in Colonel Harrison's perspective became complete as he realized that Sarah's success benefited the entire military by expanding the pool of potential elite soldiers. Her performance demonstrated that focusing on capability rather than demographics would strengthen military effectiveness while providing opportunities for exceptional individuals regardless of their gender. Sarah's victory represented more than personal achievement. It opened doors for every woman who dreamed of serving in roles previously considered impossible. Her success proved that determination, preparation, and natural ability could overcome any barrier when combined with unwavering commitment to excellence. The colonel's final evaluation acknowledged that Sarah had not just met the program's requirements, but had redefined what was possible for any candidate regardless of background. Her performance had shaken his fundamental assumptions about military service, while demonstrating that the future of elite forces would be determined by capability rather than tradition. As Sarah received her assignment to the elite unit she had worked so hard to join, she reflected on the promise she had made to herself 3 years earlier. She had become exactly the kind of soldier she had dreamed of being, someone whose capabilities transcended limitations others might have accepted as permanent. The little girl who had watched helplessly during that terrorist attack had grown into a warrior whose skills and determination could change the outcome of impossible situations. Sarah's journey from doubt to excellence had proven that the only real limitations were those people imposed on themselves by accepting other people's assumptions about what was possible. Colonel Harrison's transformation from skeptic to supporter represented the broader changes Sarah's success would inspire throughout the military. Her victory had demonstrated that excellence recognized no boundaries except those created by limited thinking and outdated assumptions about human potential. The story of Sarah's triumph would inspire countless others to pursue their own seemingly impossible dreams. She had proven that when preparation met opportunity, extraordinary things became achievable for anyone willing to push beyond the comfortable limits that most people accepted as permanent. Her success echoed far beyond the training facility where she had proven herself, carrying a message of possibility that would encourage others to attempt their own versions of the impossible. Sarah had shown that the phrase, "driven beyond her limits," was actually a description of where true achievement began rather than where it ended.